Is Daniel Jones going to start for the New York Giants next year? We're going to break that down on today's video because Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report said that he expects for Daniel Jones to be back with the New York Giants. He also said stuff about Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. We'll dive into that in a second. But he did not say that Daniel Jones is going to be the starter. I've already been texted by multiple people. Multiple people have hit me up on Twitter and said, Marshall, did you see what Jordan Schultz said about Daniel Jones? I told you we're not going to draft a quarterback. Daniel is going to be our QB once again. He's going to start. And while all of that may be true, that is not what Jordan Schultz said. What Schultz said is Jones is going to be back with the New York Giants next year. He didn't say he was going to be the starter. He didn't say that the Giants weren't going to draft a quarterback in the first round of the NFL draft. He didn't say any of that. All he said was that Daniel Jones will be back with the New York Giants. And I don't mean to be mean to Jordan right here, but no shit, Sherlock. The Giants were never going to cut Daniel Jones after this season. That was never going to be an option for Joe Schoen, John Mara, and the New York Football Giants. Why? Because it's simple math. It would cost the Giants $47.1 million to keep Daniel Jones on the Giants next season. Whereas if they decided to cut him after this season, he would have a dead cap hit of $69.3 million. So it would be $22 million cheaper to just keep him on your team as the backup or potentially the bridge quarterback for a guy that you draft. So Jordan Schultz, thank you for stating the obvious and have everyone thinking that Giants have already said Daniel Jones is going to be the starter, which he did not at all. The Giants will not cut Daniel Jones after this season, but he could and probably will be cut after the 2024 season. As you see on the graphic right here that illustrates all of the numbers for Daniel Jones' contract, you see right there in the middle, it says potential out 2025, 2 years, $82 million, and then carry a dead cap hit of just over $22 million. What does that mean? The Giants will most likely cut Daniel Jones after the 2024 season and then carry a dead cap charge of $22 million for 2025. And then after the 2025 season, they will be completely free of that contract if they do decide to cut him. I will say this, though. Daniel Jones could be ready for week one coming back from that torn ACL. You look at this graphic from The Athletic created by Dan Duggan. Shout out to him, best on the beat. He showed when quarterbacks recently have torn their ACL and when they did return. Look at Kyler Murray. He got hurt with an ACL in week 14 of 2022. It took him until week 10 of the following year to be back. So essentially 48 weeks. You look at Joe Burrow. His is one of the faster turnarounds we've seen in recent memory. He was hurt in week 11 and was ready to go in week 1. Look at Jimmy G. Pretty much took him a whole year. Went from week 3 to week 1 the following year. Deshaun Watson, it was when he tore his ACL in 2017 and came back for week 1 of 2018, that is a very similar timeline, exactly the exact same timeline as Daniel Jones. So Deshaun Watson came back in less than a year from week 9 to week 1, and that's not even when the NFL played 17 games in a season, so he would have a little bit more time. Carson Wentz also came back pretty quick as well from week 14 to week 3. So Daniel Jones could be ready to go next season, week 1. The question is, will Daniel Jones be the Giants starter next season? I want to hear from you. Look, I don't think he is going to be, and I'll tell you why I think that coming up in a second, but I want to hear from you right now. Will Daniel Jones be the Giants starting QB next season? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We'll talk about Daniel Jones. I'll give my opinion on what I think the Giants are going to do at the quarterback position. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Marine Layer. Go to marinelayer.com/chatsports, and they're going to hook you up with 15% off your entire order. It's official. I have found my new favorite clothing brand. Their stuff is so soft, it's absurd, and it makes for the perfect gift. All thanks to San Francisco-based brand Marine Layer. To spread holiday cheer, our listeners at Giants Now get 15% off with our exclusive link. Just head to marinelayer.com/chatsports. That'll be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. I've got a hoodie, I've got a polo, and I've got a plain navy blue t-shirt. And honestly, I love it. You could wear it anywhere. It fits great. And even after a couple of washes, it still holds up that premium quality. Honestly, you can get all of your holiday shopping done in Marine Layer. They've got amazing gifts for girls and guys like sweaters, tees, overshirts, beanies, you name it. It'll be getting some absurdly soft stuff for whether it's your spouse, whether it's your boyfriend, whether it's your son, your daughter, doesn't matter. Get it done with Marine Layer. And I think we can all admit that great gifts can be hard to find. Look no further than Marine Layer. For a limited time, get 15% off at marinelayer.com/chatsports. I've got their sport polo on right now. It's called the Respun Sport Polo in navy warm stripe. I can wear this to the office. I can wear this to go hang out with the guys. I'm a big fan of it. You can get it today by going to marinelayer.com/chatsports. Save 15% off. That link will be clickable down in the comments and description of today's show. Look, I understand that Daniel Jones may be ready to go week 1. And I understand Jordan Schultz said that he will be back on this football team. We knew that. That doesn't mean he's going to be the starter, and that does not mean the Giants will pass on a quarterback in the top 5. The Giants have to draft a quarterback this year in the first round. Look, this is a generational QB class, and you have the opportunity to take the second best quarterback. You look at some of the top guys potentially entering the 2024 NFL draft. You can also throw Jaden Daniels of LSU in this list. A lot of people are calling Caleb Williams the most hyped and pro-ready prospect at that QB position since Andrew Luck. I'm a huge fan of Drake May. Reminds me of Justin Herbert, and I think if it wasn't for Caleb Williams, Drake May would be the runaway number 1 pick, and I think Drake May would have been the number 1 pick last year over Bryce Young. I know some people like J.J. McCarthy. Shador Sanders is an intriguing pick. Michael Penix has looked really good for Washington, and I know a lot of guys and girls like Bo Nix as well. It would be irresponsible for Joe Schoen and the New York Giants to pass on a quarterback. And this honestly has nothing to do with the play of Daniel Jones. He's coming off a torn ACL. You don't know if he'll be ready for week 1. You don't know if you're ever going to be picking inside the top 5. And also, Daniel Jones has missed 8 games in the last 3 seasons due to a serious neck injury. It would be irresponsible to proceed forward with him as your only option at starting quarterback for this team. The Giants have to draft a quarterback, and I fully believe that they will. Coming up next, we're going to get to those quotes from Jordan Schultz on Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. He pretty much made it seem like the heat that's coming from the seat is completely turned off. Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll not on the hot seat. That's what he said. We'll break that down. But first, I got to make sure all of you are subscribed to Giants Now by Chat Sports. No matter what the record is, no matter what day it is, we're going to get you free Giants content every single day. So if you're looking for that, free videos, 365, hit that subscribe button. Give us a week. And if you don't like it, you could unsubscribe after that. But give us a shot. Free Giants content every day. Alrighty. Are the New York Giants going to be running it back with Brian Daboll as the head coach of this football team and Joe Schoen as the general manager? Jordan Schultz said, barring something drastic, it's my understanding that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll will be back. My question to Jordan Schultz would be this. What do you mean barring something drastic? How much more drastic can it be? The Giants haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter of this season. They've won just 2 football games. And last week, they were blown out by a division rival 49-17. You've been outscored by the Cowboys 89-17 this season. And you haven't even played the Philadelphia Eagles just yet. Look, I don't think that Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen should be fired. But I don't understand the something drastic because I'm not sure how much more drastically worse they can be. Let's start by saying this. This was never going to be a 1-year rebuild for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. I think everybody that even pays attention to the New York Giants thought what is happening this year was potentially going to happen last year, and the hope is what happened last year would have happened this year. It just got flipped. What Brian Daboll was able to achieve last year with one of the least talented rosters in the NFL, multiple millions of dollars in dead cap money, and coach that team to the playoffs and a playoff win, I think that bought him a little bit of time. I think that gives him an extra year. Giants have fired 3 straight coaches after 2 years. We know that. But what Daboll did last year bought him some time. But it's also fair to say, and I think everyone will agree, Daboll has not been great this year. He has not. There's been some decisions I have not agreed with, but I do believe in him. And the Giants, they have to give Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen a shot to build this roster in their reflection, in their sights, and how they want this team to be. You've only been through 2 NFL drafts. You've only gone through one free agency because the first free agency year you didn't have any money thanks to Dave Gettleman. I don't agree with everything they've done, but I do believe in Brian Daboll. What I saw him do last year as a coach, where he had everybody rallying around him, everybody believing in him. Thought he made some really good calls in game last year. Thought he really had the pulse of this team down. This year it hasn't been that way. Shit happens. I still believe in him, even though I think he's been awful this year. I'm going to give him another shot. I'm going to give him another year. And I'm also going to give Joe Schoen another year. Why? Because when you look at what Joe Schoen has done as the general manager of this team, I thought he's honestly done a good job in the NFL draft. Kayvon Thibodeau's on his way to a double-digit sack season in his second year. Everyone in the NFL has been wrong about Evan Neal. Did not work. I like what I've seen from Wan'Dale Robinson. Joshua Zudu, maybe that was a bad pick. Hasn't looked too good. Now he's out for the year. I like what I've seen from Cordell Flott. We all love Daniel Bellinger. Dane Belton flashed last year. I think he could be your Xavier McKinney replacement. Micah McFadden is ranked as a top 10 inside linebacker by Pro Football Focus. DJ Davidson has made some splash plays. Marcus McKeithen has not played all that well, and a lot of people like Darian Beavers, despite the fact that he's on the practice squad, has not played that well. But even what he did this year in this year's draft class, Deonte Banks has looked like a CB1 at times this year. John Michael Schmitz, when healthy, has played well. Jalen Hyatt has showed why he is a guy that can change a game with just one catch. Eric Gray, early injury, haven't got a good read on him. Trey Hawkins, a lot of hype, has not lived up to it. But Jordan Riley has impressed a lot of people, and I thought he looked really good in the preseason and has made some good plays this year. Javarius Owens, he's your 7th-round pick. I also like what Joe Schoen has done when it comes to making trades as the Giants general manager. The trade he made to get Micah McFadden, I like. The trade he made to get Dane Belton, he liked. I love the trade of Kadarius Toney to bring in Darren Waller. I love the fact that he made a trade for Isaiah Simmons. I like that he made a trade for Boogie Basham. And the Leonard Williams trade, the fact that you were able to get a 2nd and 5th round pick for Leonard Williams, pretty freaking good, if you ask me. Has it resulted to a lot of wins this year? No. But I think the Giants and Joe Schoen are doing it the right way, going about it the right way, and I still believe in him as the general manager of this football team. I'll ask you, what is it to do with Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen? What should John Mara do with this duo? Because I think they're a package deal. I think if one goes, they both go. What do you think? Fire them? Keep them? I'm typing Mike K for keep. I'm giving him one more year and maybe even a year after that. It takes a while to build a football team in the image and likeness of what a general manager and head coach want. I'm going to say keep. As always, just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you for tuning in to Giants Now by Chat Sports. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up icon on today's show. It would mean a lot, and we'll see you later. Go Big Blue.